No, we're just gonna have a dialogue with them tonight. Unless you want to just put like put our main slide up on the screen or something like that.
Yeah, I'll probably just do that. And
Yeah.
then that's just to start us off.
Yeah, because it'll float between the speakers. That's why even I wanted the speakers to be the main visual on the screen tonight.
All right. Can you see my screen? Is it full screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, shice.
Hello,
Sorry, I've
hello
got the wrong one.
everybody. Hello everybody. Please feel free to let me hear your voices tonight. I know some of you like to be silent back there, but I would love to hear your voices tonight.
Oh. I'm just now giving everybody permission, Brian.
Oh.
I was behind.
Hello and good afternoon, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, good evening. Hello.
Good
Hello.
evening. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yes, hi y'all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hey, Cho. Was that you, Cho, speaking or just sending a message?
Hello.
Hey, Cho.
Speaking and sending a message both.
All right. It is
How are
so
you,
nice.
everybody? How are you, Brian and everybody?
I'm doing awesome, and looks like everybody's engaged. This is awesome. Just hearing voices. Sometimes y'all be so quiet back there. I'm so happy to hear your voices tonight.
Good to hear yours as well.
Good evening, Rod Bayless here. How's everybody?
Oh wow, that's a name I know.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, Mr. Bayless?
Man, if I was doing any better, I'd be you.
All right, we got a nice audience here tonight, team. We got some wonderful guests. So just real briefly, y'all know how we like to get started. Please don't feel afraid. We want to hear some good news. So would anybody like to share anything that has gone positive for them over these last few weeks? Anything positive. It doesn't have to be anything big. It could be something small, but we just want to get some good positive energy going before we get our panel going tonight.
I've got
Feel
one.
free.
Now I'm going to show my age a little bit, but I've got one son on the right coast and one on the left coast, and by happenstance, they ended up in Atlanta at the same time without me around, and they took a picture and sent it to mom and dad. So it's good to see our boys hanging out, doing their thing.
Awesome. Raise some good, strong, healthy, successful adults. We can't call them kids anymore.
Absolutely. Young man.
Yep. Awesome. Anybody else? Anything positive? What's going positive for you?
Yes, I got a job working at my school.
All right.
Awesome.
That is
Awesome. I know the importance of having some income while you're still in school. That is very helpful. You might be able to upgrade from the noodles to something else, because I did a lot of noodles when I was at college. All right, let's do one more positive. What's something going good for you, going well for you here in the last few weeks? I'll step in on this one. I would like to just say something that's positive is Deb shared with me. They have pretty much locked everything down for our conference. So we will be able to be together here in a few weeks. That's a lot of work. It's years of not being able to see each other in person. So really happy that we've made it to this point, and then also just happy about the hard work and grateful that we got Deb on our team to piece all of this together for us. We can never give her enough flowers, but that's the good news, is in a few weeks we get together and maybe get a good old slice of Chicago pizza.
Right. Love that
Right.
deep. Now that's the deep dish pizza, right? I just want to make sure.
Yeah. Yeah, they call it like a pizza pie.
I don't want to get it twisted. It's all good.
All right. Well, tonight, if you can see, Deb, you mind just putting your screen up real quick, just for everybody to get one quick visual. And then we'll bring it down as our speakers are dialoguing with us tonight. So tonight's dialogue is going to be around internships, finding and applying. We've had many of conversations with you around the internship space. I'm very well versed in being an intern and hiring interns and all that jazz. And today we have a wonderful array of professionals who are going to give us feedback from the internship space, from maybe some of their own personal experiences as interns and or hiring interns or managing intern programs. But you have professionals who are going to give you advice that I highly, highly recommend you take notes on, because these are people who are right there, hands-on approach with the internship process. There's many tips and tricks that we're going to share with you tonight. So buckle up, and we want to hear your voices. We'll do quick intros. I'll set our speakers up with a question or two, and then Deb and I will be monitoring the Q&A. We'll be monitoring the raise your hand feature in order for you to get your questions answered. So we'll just do quick intros. If we can just let everybody know who you are, a little bit about your background, and we'll start from there. And then I'll set us up with a few questions to start our dialogue around internships, finding and applying. So we'll just go top to bottom here. We'll start with Ms. Brown. You want to get us going here?
Sure, my pleasure. Hi, everyone. Nice to see some faces and hear some voices. My name is Kara Brown. I work at Fermi National Accelerator Laboratory. I've been there 10 years now in the HR space, started off as a recruiter and then technical recruiter. And now I have the pleasure of leading all of our outreach efforts for Chicagoland. So my role and responsibility is to make sure that we are diversifying our workforce. Some things about national labs is that we are government funded. So the lab should look like all taxpayers. So I am happy to speak to you today about whether it's jobs or internships and getting you applied at Fermilab.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. We'll progress to Mr. Bayless here.
All right. First off, good evening. I come to you from Augusta, Georgia. I work with Eaton Corporation. I am currently a senior program manager in supply chain, and I am really excited. You heard me talk about it. I've got a son at Morehouse and a son, third-year PhD at Berkeley, and both of them have done internships. And so I'm a huge advocate. I've actually hired them. I've had them report to me and mentored them over the years. And what I will tell you is it makes your degree well worth it. I, as an intern, would learn more in my summer than in 6 months of my degree. And so I'm an avid supporter of the internship program. Eaton has a ton of opportunities, and you're on the right call. Get it done early. So look, that's it. Wife, kids, job, engineering degree out of Auburn, and MBA out of Syracuse. That's it. Thanks.
Awesome, awesome. And next will be my friend of many talents, Mr. Rob. Maybe you let him know of a few of your talents that maybe others don't know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Brian, it's great to be back with my old friends, Deb and Brian. And yeah, it's great to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Shook. I'm the University Student Program Coordinator at Argonne National Laboratory, one of the other national laboratories, one of two in Illinois. We have both of them here today. How great is this? All right. But as my title suggests, I work with university students, undergrad and grad. And I work on the programming. So I do everything from recruitment, things like this, advocating for students to apply for internships, to putting on programming for our students, whether it's during the summer, during the fall, during the spring. And I want to say, I know well, for me at least, I don't know where everyone is located, but you're doing the right thing by joining a webinar, an informational session like this to learn about internships. Also, I can't stress enough, this is the perfect time to look and to start applying for things. And I'm looking forward to talking about the opportunities that we have at Argonne. I know that between Kara and Cortez, we're probably going to cover some similar ground, but we're here to advocate for the national labs. I find that between industry and academia, sometimes we're the forgotten entity where there are careers and internships. So I'm happy to be here, really happy to be talking about Argonne and the National Lab Complex. And I'm looking forward to the conversation tonight. So great to be here.
Awesome, awesome. And we have another Eaton representative. Miss Ward, do you mind giving us an introduction?
Sure thing. Thanks, Brian. So my name is Brianna Ward. I am currently the program manager for our operations management, as well as our supply chain management leadership development program within our early talent space at Eaton. I've been with Eaton for 7.5 years. I've been in our LDP, our leadership development programs. I've also been an intern in the HR space. That's where my degrees are in, my background is in. And so before moving over to the early talent space, spend a lot of time working in our operations, partnering with our plants to get that experience in terms of being a business partner. Very excited to be here today talking to you guys about internships. As Rob mentioned, we do have some great internship opportunities that are feeders into our full-time leadership development programs once you do graduate. And so big advocate of internships. Like it was mentioned earlier, you're in the right spot to get some great information and hopefully get you excited about some opportunities.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. And last but not least, we're going to have my good friend here, Mr. Cortez Watkins out of Illinois, and our Fermilab organization that we've been good partners with for many years. Give your introduction, Mr. Cortez.
Yes, hello, good evening, everyone, and good to hear you, Brian, again, your voice. So I also am here representing Fermilab. My background is in engineering physics. I've worked in high energy physics operations for a little bit of time, but now I'm in the equity space, also along with Kara Brown at Fermilab. So excited to chat with you all this evening. And I know internships, actually I had my first research internship opportunity through Louis Stokes. So it's so funny how things come around full circle. So happy to be here to share with you all this evening.
Awesome, awesome. So tonight I'm gonna set us up with some pretty easy questions to kind of get us going and just get our minds wrapped around internships. So we're just going to talk about that value proposition. I listened to Rob speak on that, and I like for each panelist, as we give our students a chance to just kind of gather their thoughts, maybe gather potential questions for you. Let's just talk about the value of an internship and how that internship can be leveraged. So we'll kind of go in reverse order here. We'll start with Cortez. If you can kind of give us from your standpoint, what is your value proposition for the importance of an internship, and how do you think that internship can be leveraged by our students?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I think the value proposition for an internship is really to give you that hands-on experience that you might not necessarily get outside of college, right? And so having that experience to work directly, whether it's directly in the field with other researchers, with other people with similar backgrounds, but also with other students that might have similar interests, I think really sets you apart. And in some instances, a lot of these opportunities directly can connect with full-time work opportunities after the internship, right? So, I heard Ms. Ward speak about their early career development programs. So we hope that our internships also would do the same thing, where students would not only be interested in coming back, but also pursue higher education. So.
Can I jump right in, Brian, or? Okay, so I think in addition to what Cortez mentioned, I think it also just gives you an opportunity to kind of confirm your interest. And so in a lot of ways, I know, with our internship programs, it's kind of like a test run to confirm like, hey, is this really the career path I see myself going down? You also are, committed for a shorter amount of time. And so if that is something that, you try and you don't like, you have an opportunity to still pivot and either find another opportunity with the company that you're working with, or try another industry altogether. And so I think it's a good kind of litmus test in the sense of hey, is this a good fit for what I see myself doing long term?
Awesome, thank you. Come on in there, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't want to step on anyone's toes, but I couldn't agree more with what Cortez and Brianna said. But I think my contribution to this would be, it's really important, I think, in an internship to build a sense of belonging and your own kind of identity in a STEM area. I mean, as far as like trying on a, area of research or area of science or area of STEM, I should say, it's building some confidence, building some skills and the belief in yourself that you can, one, do the career or pursue that higher education, and just do that and do that well. And to go along with that, I think kind of talking about that identity piece, doing an internship, it's a great way to build a network, a support network, or a network of champions or advisors who are going to help you along the way. I think that's really, really important. We can't do this just ourselves. We're not going to succeed or get very far in a vacuum. So, developing an identity and belief in yourself, and just building advisors and champions for yourself. I think those are two important things that I'd like to add.
I think it gives you, I'd like to add just one other perspective, and I think it gives you an opportunity to make what you've learned and put it into reality and understand what does this mean, right? Literally week number 1, I was a sponge, and then I started to try to make the linkage between the body of knowledge that I'd gained in this internship. And I think that linking with the people, and this is where I think the richness is. As an intern, you get to interface with a completely different group of people than you have ever before. And I agree with what Rob said, because those linkages can be lifelong linkages. They can be foundational linkages. They can be that spark that says, hey, you know what? I never thought about it, but I do like this research part, right? Or I didn't think about it, but this now makes sense to me. Because when you're sitting in campus, when you're going through and you're trying to get the grades, trying to understand the subject, everything's fine and dandy. But at the end of the process, you want to be able to put it into application. And your internship gives you the opportunity to see how the other people have transcended from the book into the workplace. And I think that is so key, because everybody does it differently.
Thank you for that. Oh, yep, please. I was just doing the transition there.
Sorry. I think lastly, the only thing else that I can add is the internship can either confirm or deny your interest, right? So you may have an internship and you complete it and you just realize that wasn't for me. It doesn't make it a bad internship. It just now allows you to really follow your passion. And one example that I want to use is that we had an intern at the laboratory that was debating between physics and medical school, right? So getting her PhD in physics or going to medical school. And she was a minority from a HBCU. And although she enjoyed the time, at Fermilab and we had a great connection, it really made up her mind to say, hey, I want to do medical school. So regardless, it was a win-win. So even if you have an internship that you're like, don't think of it as a negative experience. It's about making you that well-rounded individual for the workforce.
Thank y'all so much for that. I think it sets a really good tone for just our dialogue tonight. One thing that that I go back to a personal experience of mine, and you don't know what the future is going to hold. And I'm going to share just a very small personal story that my very first internship, and you talk about how life just connects everything, was Eaton Corporation in Searcy, Arkansas, making directional control valves. And my next summer, I was offered to go to the electrical sector. And I chose not to go to electrical. And I actually changed my major from electrical to industrial engineering. And I've had a beautiful career in operations, but I look back and I was like, wow, one, I made a great decision for myself. Two, I didn't know how industries were going to change, and that experience in electrical, I didn't know how that was going to shift inside of that corporation and the world, just being kind of a young kid in college. So what I like for you to do is think back on some of your experiences, think back on maybe some experiences of people you managed or supported, and just how just having an internship experience could reshape your future outlook, and just deciding what it is you actually want to do from a chance of actually getting tangible experiences, because that's what it was for me. And I want to know from your perspective if you could share that with the students. So y'all just hop in where you want on this one, and I'll just kind of go between us if you like.
It's interesting because so I had a unique internship. I was actually on a ROTC scholarship when I was in college. And so when I had an internship, I had a job already. Like I was going into the Navy as an officer. That was going to happen. And it's interesting because I did it anyway, because I didn't know if I wanted to do the Navy for 20 years, right? And Brian, exactly what you said, because I did my internship, it opened my eyes and I had a really clear understanding of what corporate America looked like, so that once I got into the Navy, I had a 4-year internship. I did 4 years in the Navy and realized, wow, yeah, I'm going to go back into corporate America. That was much more interesting, and I like being at home at night. So I share that with you because no matter where you're at, internships give you an opportunity to get a perspective in a short amount of time, get compensated most of the time for it. And even if I know people that do internships and they don't get compensated, they still learn a lot and get a lot out of it. So it's not all about the money. Getting the money helps. Don't get me wrong. All right. But take the time to try something different, and even try something that you may not even think you're interested in.
Is there any of our other panelists that like to share on that topic of how that internship experience can open you up, open your mind up, and could potentially alter your direction that you take?
I had a unique experience in college where for a summer, I had an opportunity to do a psychology internship, totally different from my major. And at that psychology internship, it really discussed the different levels of like emotional intelligence and diversity, not knowing that that would be the work that I will be doing now, so I think having different experiences where you can understand not only why you are doing something, but also understanding that no matter what discipline that you go into, you're still going to have to engage with people. And so having those soft skills or those interpersonal skills to connect with others can definitely help you manage a team going forward. So I'm very grateful for that internship, even though it wasn't directly in engineering, but it definitely helped me have a more broader perspective on life, and also helps me to connect better with people today.
Awesome. I want to ask a very direct question, because I believe we have HR programs, HR manager for LDP program, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I would like to ask, and others can join in if you like, but I want to ask directly to you. Have you seen, and can you share any success stories of someone making that transition from having an internship and, progressing there to converting that into a successful full-time position and career?
Oh man, yeah. So I just got into this role in March. I'll say that. I'll preface this conversation with that. So I had my first batch of interns for my program this summer. And so we had 40 operations interns with us over the summer. Of that, I think a large majority, maybe 25, 28, a large majority of them were eligible to convert over to the full-time after completion. So going into their senior year. So the timing was just perfect. So like they do their internship, and technically, if everything works out, they can go back to campus with a job offer in hand. And we actually were able to convert a lot of our intern class into our full-time LDP program for the year. And so they did, a great job in terms of managing their projects and connecting with the teams on site. We have our interns also do an end of the assignment presentation at the end of the summer, just to highlight the projects that they worked on. During that call, their assignment managers are there, the plant managers for their business is usually there as well. And, just the feedback that a lot of them received in terms of the impact that they had, the fresh ideas that they brought to the plant, just, the weight that they were able to lift off their team, because they're doing meaningful work. The team needs them, needs them there. And so it was very exciting to be able to call them and tell them, hey, like, we would love for you to come back and, join the full-time program and continue your career with Eaton. And so we had a lot of success stories this summer. And I'm just super excited to continue that trend moving forward.
Awesome. So Ms. Brown, I want you to think back on your experiences matriculating through college, and think about what you wanted to be. Do you believe that having it's either co-op, internships, I don't care if it's volunteer experience, we'll just package internship into the world of experiences. What to you is something you can take away from your personal experiences that said, this brought value to my life, even if it was beyond the check? For me, I won't lie, I'm like Mr. Bayless. I needed some money too, so I ain't gonna lie. I was in college, I didn't mind having a little paycheck, but talk about your personal experience and how it reshaped some things for you personally.
So if I can be 100% transparent, I may be one of the panelists that actually did not have an internship in college. So I went to college extremely focused on grades and being in a sorority. My mother was an educator, so she didn't believe in anything under a B in her household, and we had 4 years to get it done. So although I completed UIC, I worked all the time. And I had jobs throughout college. I was actually a photographer at Sears Portrait Studio. I worked at a bank, and then I was a server and a bartender. So I did not. So my experience, because I did not have one, I graduated with a degree in marketing, and I had 0 experience to get into the marketing field. But I was in the restaurant industry for quite a while. So my first job out of school, I became a restaurant manager, right? For TGI Fridays, and that was not my passion whatsoever. So as I got into the field, I then moved into recruiting and then HR. So I would say, and I probably found my passion as a professional when I started at Fermilab 10 years ago. And not even thinking that I wanted to be an HR professional. I always thought I was going to be in marketing. I was going to make these crazy billboards and be this wonderful designer. No, because I didn't have any internships. So I would say, don't follow me. Still have fun in college, still get A's and B's, still pledge if you choose to. But I think if I had an internship, I would have found my passion a lot sooner. Because I would have, 1, that experience, and 2, my resume would have set me apart. As a recruiter from the HR side, those entry-level positions are extremely demanding. So when you are in HR, you have to separate. It's not always grades, right? You have to separate yes and no. And when you have 300 applicants for a E1 engineering position, how does one applicant bubble to the top? And 90% of it is internships consecutively and co-ops. We've converted more co-ops at Fermilab then, like, over the course of the years, we convert more co-ops than interns, because that makes you, like, our co-op policy or procedure, you have to come back to the lab 3 times, right? For 3 different semesters. So of course, you're going to start building those relationships with managers. Of course, you're going to start understanding the business model. You'll then understand the culture at where you have those co-ops at. And then you have the power to say, hey, I want to stay there. Let me apply to Fermilab, as well as Eaton, as well as Argonne, as well as, wherever. And now the ball is in your court. Not having an internship, you allow the ball to be in the employer's court versus the other way around.
I really, really appreciate your honesty. We always want to give our students, very honest feedback, and I'll add to your honesty there. So I did not do an internship until going into my senior year in college. I was an athlete. I thought I was going to be a Major League Baseball player, and that was just my life, school and baseball. And I will tell you, if you're listening to the feedback from Ms. Brown and you're like, but Brian, it's too late for me, I'm going to tell you it's not. So I'll share just what I did. So I had the summer before my senior year. I did an internship. I then parlayed that into a co-op. So Eaton asked me to stay all the way through my first semester of my senior year. And I was like, great, okay, y'all still paying? And and I'm gonna get more experience. So I decided to do a co-op. I was able to get some co-op credits from my university. I then made a business decision to stay in school one more semester. And that one more semester opened up another summer. I then did another internship. So I went from having 0 to 3 internships by the time I graduated, or 2 interns and a co-op. So if you're listening and you're like, I'm a junior, I'm a senior, it's not too late. One thing that I also want to throw out to the group, because there's a lot of myths that are out there about internships. And one I remember when I was in school was freshmen and sophomores can't get internships. So is there anyone on the panel that would like to jump in and give your honest feedback about the challenges a freshman and a sophomore may face, but also the reality that it actually is possible?
Well, I'm going to speak right up because I was really excited. My son's a second year at Morehouse this year, and he did a research internship going from his freshman into the following year. So, and it was research. It was paid pretty well. I was pretty happy for him. So it was not easy, and he got it literally just because he kept trying. So that was literally last summer. So it's pretty real.
Awesome. Anyone else want to jump in on that one? Because I know that's some of our feedback that we get from our students is it's just not possible for them.
Yeah, I'll comment on that one too, Brian. So it's not impossible. We do hire sophomores, some freshmen into our internship programs. Just speaking for Eaton, one of the things that a lot of times students have to overcome for us, we have a GPA requirement. And so because most of our recruiting happens in the fall, as a freshman, you don't have a GPA yet. And so we do get to sometimes, where we do spring recruiting and we still have open spots left. And I think that's how some of the freshmen get in. But we do have interns who intern with us summer after summer after summer. And so, getting in, starting early, like those situations do happen. So I wouldn't let it deter you, completely. But if you do get a no, don't let that stop you. Continue to apply, continue to try, come back the next summer and apply with that same company. Things look different each year. And so don't let it get you down if you do get that no as a freshman. So
we also have an age requirement, Brianna. Just, some freshmen, especially the younger, smarter ones, may not be 18. If you're not 18, you're not going to get an internship with Eaton. Just FYI.
So if I could jump in, I would say the national labs are actually a great way to get in your freshman or sophomore year. We do have an age requirement, but that's 16. So we actually start internships for summer students starting their junior year of high school. And I think that's one of the entities that's actually missed. So you can there's 17 national labs within the US, and not to recruit, other labs, but there's so many missed opportunities in the DOE space. All of the national labs have their own internal internships that are posted on our website, but there's also internships through the Department of Energy that also start freshman year as well. And I know that there's always missed funds there. So definitely think about that as another scope. And it's because all of the national labs, there's 17 and we all study different science. So there's science, there's research, but there's also business. Fermilab just opened up a business internship this fall. There's internships for vets, there's internships for high school, grad, master's, PhD, and beyond. So just do a little bit of research for the national lab space, and there's definitely opportunity for freshmen and older.
Yeah, if I could just quickly piggyback off of what Kara mentioned, for those DOE funded internships that all the national labs support, I mean, there's a specific program for community college students as well as university students. And I want to say there's been a lot of thought and a lot of effort to make it more equitable for freshmen and sophomores to get into the program. Just recently, this past summer, we were able to have freshman students in the Sully program. And I noticed a change recently. There used to be a limit on how many times students could apply to the program. And now it's 4 times. So really, you could apply every summer to the program. I'm really, really happy to see those changes because I think it really opens it up for more students and gives more opportunity to that. But those were 2 points I want to make. Oh, the other thing was I'm going through our post summer 2022 internship survey. And I want to say, I'm not going to give any specific numbers, but we have a pretty nice distribution of freshmen, sophomore, junior, seniors in the undergrad level. I will say freshmen, little on the smaller number end, but a really nice distribution. So, these are the numbers. I'm going off some numbers, not going to give the exact numbers there, but, there are opportunities. And, even though we have 2 national labs here, there are projects and research projects, tasks that freshman level students can do. It's not all advanced, super technical, super esoteric, science, research, engineering stuff going on. Like there is stuff for folks with, who are just finishing up freshman or sophomore year. So, don't let, your academic standing deter you.
Awesome. That is great insight. And thank you all for providing that encouragement, but not also just encouragement, but like tangible things that our students can do. We're going to transition into our panelists actually giving you all feedback about some of the opportunities that the organizations that they are with have. And at the same time, I do just want to quickly share, as we talk about opportunities and we talk about, maybe I was unsuccessful at this event, get to as many conferences and events as possible. You'll be shocked that there are more opportunities that we just don't get filled. And so we leave a lot of internships, a lot of jobs in general in life are unfilled because people just don't put their name in the hat. So it's something that I learned later in college to get to conferences, and I definitely have leveraged them as a professional. So please don't be afraid of the no's that you're going to get. It's okay. All you need is one yes. Don't worry about how many no's you get. All it takes is one yes. So we'll transition over to the opportunities. So we'll start with Ms. Ward. Do you mind sharing for a few minutes, and each of you will share for a few minutes about some of the opportunities your org has from an internship perspective?
Yes, so Eaton has a lot of different opportunities for our undergraduates or undergraduate students to transition into the organization. And so I talked a little bit about the Leadership Development Program, which I manage one of those programs, but we do have other options as well that, if you don't fall into, because everybody is not going to be geographically flexible, which is what our leadership development programs require, because we do move you around the country. And so I'll just kind of talk through a couple of different avenues there. And so, while our leadership development programs, they do have an internship component to them as a feeder role. And I will say that we have, I think, maybe 11 different functional programs for our formal leadership development programs. And so each of those have an internship component to them, going, from the business side all the way to, research and software for our computer science engineers, or more technical side of the house in terms of your interest there. And so I would encourage you, and we'll drop the link in the chat there for, Deb did it for us, thank you, to our website that has some more information about all of our opportunities. But obviously you have the formal leadership development internship. So that's a 12-week internship with our corporate team. But we also have co-ops that come up just based on our individual business needs. And so sometimes a local team will have a need for an intern or a co-op during the school year, and they'll post those on our website as well. And so the nice thing about our website, you can set up alerts, and so the site will email you if something comes up, that does match your interest or your location, so that you can apply to those, because those kind of pop up a little more ad hoc. The other thing that we do have is we do have some direct hire opportunities too. So like, I guess moving a little bit past the internship, but if you're not geographically flexible, or maybe you are, at your senior year, you didn't have any internships, or anything like that, we do have direct hire roles that do come up where, it's a little more localized as well, for, people to get into and kind of get that foundation and kind of hit the ground running in terms of experience there. And then of course our leadership development programs, like I talked about, those are 2 to 3 year programs where you're moving, throughout the country at our different locations, just depending on the functional area that you're interested in. And there's a leadership aspect to that as well. And so really trying to, give you that technical skill, but as well as building some soft skills as well to grow you into a future leader for the company. And so again, I'll encourage you guys to just take a look at the link there and see if, any of those roles pique your interest. I know Brian also talked about conferences. And so we have a lot of conferences coming up in the near future. Of course, we'll be at the LSAM conference talking about some roles and opportunities as well and doing a little bit of recruiting there. But if you're an engineer as well, we do have, we'll be at SWE, NSB, SHIP, all of those as well. So definitely, if you're there, stop by and come see us.
Awesome. And I'll give a personal vouch for not only the internship at Eaton, as I was one, and I also was a graduate of the leadership development program. So at that time it was operations for engineers. So definitely leverage these opportunities. These are not just words, these are real. So thank you so much for sharing, and we'll transition. Let's go to Mr. Cortez. Let's talk a little Fermilab.
Okay, awesome. Could I share a screen as well, Brian, or just a little bit? I know we had just 1 or 2 slides that kind of summarizes a lot of things, but I think so.
You should be able to do that.
Okay. All right. Let's make sure. Okay. All right. So yeah. So Carrie, you can feel free to chime in wherever you like, but we have one of our main programs that we are highlighting this evening is our summer internships in science and technology. So that's our assist internship directly there. And so our assist internship began back in the 1970s, actually. And so its goal is to provide underrepresented minority students in STEM professionalization opportunities through a 12-week summer research internship. And so right here really highlights some of our key dates. Our application is about to open up in about another week or so. So feel free, students, to continue to check our web link. I know we'll make sure that we put it in the chat function for you all. And then the selection process will start around March, well, from February to March. And so it's usually super competitive. However, like Brian mentioned earlier, you count yourself out if you don't apply, so oftentimes, we have students that are highly talented, like each of you that's on here, and you apply for multiple internships, right? So sometimes you can't do like 2 or 3 internships at once, so somebody has to decline, right? So oftentimes we have folks that can do an opportunity just for some reason or sort. So so then the next person moves on up. So I've seen that time and time again. So please consider our assist internship. The eligibility to apply is an undergraduate sophomore or junior at the time of application, at least a 3.0 GPA, and you're eligible to work in the United States, but majoring in all of these different disciplines of STEM directly. And the application process is not very strenuous. It's just an online questionnaire, as well as unofficial transcript and 2 letters of recommendation. And so right now you have some folks here from LSMRC that will be happy, I'm sure, to help you find letters of recommendation through your professors or write one for you themselves. So that's our assist internship. But on our links, we have at least probably about 7 different opportunities for our undergraduate students to apply and have internship, from business to research to accelerator science, even co-op opportunities that were also mentioned. So.
Well, I think I want to add, Deb will appreciate this, just a little bit of personal connection with this is we have our students get a chance to participate at times with the program when they apply, right? So LSMRCE has a partnership with Fermilab where we actually help you through the application process, through the interviewing process, through the summer, through the onboarding, through the summer, through the offboarding, and then bring you back, if you're part of that, bring you back to the annual conference. So we just had students go through it this summer. I think, Deb, I want to say we've done 3 or 4 summers. I think we had 1 summer off, but I think we had 3 or 4 summers of this. So if you're out there and you're looking at the research angle, this is definitely a great opportunity for you. There have been times, and we'll be honest, where it wasn't maximized. We didn't have the number of applicants we would like. So definitely put your name in the hat, and don't be afraid of that no. You never know. It might be a yes. All right. So let's go to Mr. Bayless. Come on in there next. You want to share the opportunities that you have? I know you two are with Eaton, so I don't know if you got different opportunities, but you can come on in here as well, sir.
You're muted, Rod.
Man, that doesn't happen very often. Sorry about that. Thank you. So yeah, she covered most of them, but what I would say is if you're on this call, you're on the right track. Please, 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 whether it's with Eaton, Fermi, honestly, it doesn't matter. Get out there, try to land something. What else are you going to do, right? Getting through college quicker isn't going to be as valuable as getting an internship. And that's the only last piece of advice. In terms of roles, I think Brianna did a great job covering them. Please, please, please do go to that link, go look, get submitted. I'll be at the NSBE Region 3 here coming up November 5th, I believe. I'll be at the conference. If you have any questions, please ask us in person or hook up on LinkedIn. Don't hesitate. If there's a question, if I don't know the answer, I'll send you to Brianna and she'll be able to answer it for you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bayless. And now we'll go over to Argonne. So we'll talk about another laboratory.
Yeah, sounds good. I'm going to share my screen. I have too many slides, but I'm only going to go through a couple of them. And I'm going to show it in editor mode. This is a friendly, casual environment. I have no notes to hide or anything like that. So hopefully you could see my slides in the editor mode. Excellent. So one thing I want to talk about, you heard Kara, Cortez, and myself talk about some of these Department of Energy funded internships. I'll highlight them really quick. One of them is a science undergraduate laboratory internship, and then there's the community college internship program. I'm not sure where everyone is at. Yeah, not sure where everyone's going to school right now, but I thought I'd bring it up. I know we all have friends who are going to universities and community colleges. It's all on one slide, doesn't hurt to bring it up, but these are funded, the national labs, they participate in these programs. They get funding from one of the DOE offices to have interns. That's the whole point of that funding that's allotted to those labs. These programs happen year-round, summer, fall, and spring. I want to say summer is the most competitive period. That's when everyone's looking for internships. But what I've noticed, at least at Argonne, is in the fall and the spring, you have a 2-year window between your graduation date and so long as you haven't started a graduate program, you can do a fall or a spring, SULI appointment. So what I'm seeing is right now we have a couple of students who are recent graduates. They finished up at the end of May with their bachelor's degree. They're taking some time in between graduate school. Some of them are applying now. And right now they're doing a fall SULI appointment at Argonne. So I think, and it was kind of touched on earlier, it's really important to see what the eligibility and the requirements are for each internship program. This is one of the ones where the grace period between, finishing undergrad and potentially starting grad school or a career position, there's a bigger grace period for you to do this internship. The nice thing about it is it happens at all the national labs. You're working on an independent research project under the guidance of a researcher at one of the labs. It is a paid opportunity. And at Argonne, we do have housing for students. And this webinar is perfectly timed because the applications will open up next week. And as far as the deadline for these DOE programs, it's a very firm January 10th at 5 p.m. Eastern, no exception. So start those applications early. I'll go on to my next opportunity. So kind of similar to Fermilab, the seasonal internship program, or the SIP program that we call at Argonne, this is exclusively at Argonne. It's funded by the Argonne Research Divisions. I want to say it's basically the same thing as the SULI and CCI program. The only thing that's different is the way it's funded. You still get paid, you still earn the same rate. You're able to live on site for the experience, offered year-round, summer, fall, and spring. And our application period is more or less the same. You can apply to both programs. It'll open up the 1st of November, and it closes at the end of February as well. So there are some eligibility requirements. There's a GPA requirement. You have to be 18 years or older, so there's an age requirement as well. Some of these FAQs we kind of talked about. Can freshmen participate? Yes, they can. With our internship programs, it is possible for you to either kind of stay on in another appointment, which I'm not going to cover today. I'm going to encourage everyone to Google Argonne undergrad internships. I know we live in a multiple tab internet world these days, so feel free to just Google that. But it is possible to have a longer term engagement, something that could be flexible during the academic year, part-time, and then, depending on the appointment length, which can be up to 1 year, you can kind of ramp up when you're off school or during the summertime. And this is kind of I bring up this resource, it's kind of a differentiating factor between Argonne and Fermilab, as well as some of the other labs, but Argonne is a multi-purpose national laboratory. There are national labs that are single purpose, where they're focusing on one kind of particular science, but there are also many multi-purpose labs. So Argonne's doing work in accelerator science, cybersecurity, high performance computing, nuclear engineering. There's some transportation and energy systems research. I always like to test myself to see how many I could bring up when doing one of these presentations. I think the Fermilab folks and the single discipline labs have it easy. They just get to talk about one thing. Trying to summarize all that is hard sometimes, but I bring up this website, and you could just search Argonne Research Index, but this is a really great web page to see all the areas that the lab is working in. And I would say it's mostly broken up by at the level of college major. So you'll find stuff like electrical engineering, computer science, computer engineering, physics, high energy physics. It's really nice and laid out, and you really get a sense of the breadth of work that's going on at the lab. And my final slide, which I'll touch on quickly, there's been some mentions about sort of assistance with these application processes and just trying to remove the barrier from some of these things. The applications for some of these things, it does require some time, it does require some effort. The better you're able to express what your interests are, where you are right now and where you want to go, I think that's what always makes a standout applicant, as far as, that makes it easier for the folks choosing. And for the national labs and some of these programs, we can't make you an offer unless we have a completed application and we have all the minimum requirements met. But I bring up these two activities, and these are two events that we have, and they're specifically for students who identify as part of an underrepresented group in STEM. Doesn't matter what group you're identifying in, but it's for folks, for us to talk about the lab, talk about the programs, and help folks out. So the first one is First Look. This is basically like an info session where we're going to hear from some student alumni. We're going to hear from some researchers on what they look for in students and their career pathways. And we're also going to talk about some of the programs and some tips for getting started with the application. But really, it's an overview. There will be a networking session as well. But it's a really great way to learn more about the lab and hear from folks who are working with students and have been through the student programs to hear their advice and their experience. So that's at the end of this month. I can put the link to that in the chat when I'm done presenting here. It does. I know there's a little bit of a conflict with the LS MRCE conference that Friday, but that's okay. Just put it out there for everyone to know about. The other thing which doesn't conflict with the conference is this program we have, Computing Across the Sciences mini semester. And really, it's a 4-day experience for students, again, targeted to underrepresented groups in STEM. And really, it's a deep dive kind of boot camp. To me, sounds a little too aggressive, but it's a very hands-on experience for us to focus on 2 things, really. Help everyone who attends successfully complete the SULI or CCI application so they can be in the applicant pool and can be considered for these internships. And then 2, our focus is on basic computing, coding, and programming skills. So folks get an idea of some of the kind of technical computing skills that they'll need to brush up on or start to learn more about during that spring semester so they could be successful interns. These programs over the last couple of years, I was doing some numbers recently for First Look. There were about 10 students in our last summer internship cohort that attended First Look. And with the mini semester program, we had a good number of participants, and I want to say that there was just under 20 who made it to the applicant pool, and most of them got internships. So these are excellent programs to, one, get to learn some skills, get help with the application, and make connections with researchers who take students and work with students. We fine-tuned everything. I think we're, these are good things to participate in if you're really serious about being competitive applicants. And yeah, so I'm gonna stop sharing, and that's my time. Hopefully I didn't talk too much, but I'm just excited over here, which is late because it's almost my bedtime. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that, and we will transition to Miss Brown, and we'll wrap up there with you today.
I don't have much more to share outside of what Cortez said, but I will just encourage you to look at our website just to kind of give you a quick glimpse of the types of internships for undergraduates. There is one in engineering. For minorities, there's business, community college, environmental management. There's an internship in South Dakota if you want to do a summer out in Lead, South Dakota. There is one for physics and engineering students, as well as the CIS that we talked about, SULI as quantum, and there's 2 in quantum, which is the newest, hottest topic. So check out the link that Deb sent in there. I also posted my LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions.
Right. I want to just add something to what you just said there about location. So as an adult, right, life happens, families happen, different life situations lead you to wanting to live in certain places. And there's no issue with that. You're an adult, make adult decisions. Geographical flexibility is always a wonderful thing, but life does happen, and we do have our desires. As an intern, though, as an intern, be open to anywhere that an opportunity presents itself. At that point in your life, you want to be as flexible to get that experience, no matter where that internship may be, because you're typically sacrificing anywhere from 10 to 16 weeks max for this experience. So I really challenge you on your geographical flexibility as an intern. And then as you become a professional, yes, you may streamline that a bit and you may get more localized to where you want to settle, but definitely be as open as possible because there's locations where people don't want to go, yet that may be the opportunity. And so you may have gotten a few no's, and that may be where you get your yes. If you're in the world of manufacturing, I'm just going to tell you, we like to put facilities in small towns all over this country and the world. I've been able
Centrally
to
located in the middle of nowhere.
Yep. But I'll tell you this. What they don't tell you about that is that, one, you're going to meet and connect with awesome people no matter where you go. It's awesome people no matter where you go in this world. And at the same time, some of these small towns have low cost of living, and you can save a little bit more of that money. You can stay out of trouble, save your money, and stay out of trouble and focus on your job. And so just wanted to share that piece with you as we transition out today. I want to say thank you to all of our panelists. I want to say thank you to all of our students. The sacrifice that you make to be on this call with us. It's not forgotten that you could be doing something else. And I want you to know that you're already one step closer to success by making the decision. Because I'll tell you, when I was in college, I was about my business and I did my school, but I probably wasn't going to be on some Thursday night calls. And so, or Wednesday night calls or Tuesday night calls like we do. And so I just already know that you're on a different level because you're choosing to put, your future first. And I want to thank you if we do have any of our LSAMP coordinators from the universities on. Thank you for your leadership and also bringing our students to these sessions, because you are definitely setting them up with some of the cheat codes that are going to help them progress in this very competitive market. Deb, was there anything else that we wanted to share outside of 2 weeks from now? The conference is starting, and if anyone was presenting their posters, was it today, Deb?
Yes,
What's
it
today?
is 11:59 p.m. Eastern time.
So let's see. I'm 3 hours behind everybody, so, or at least 2 hours behind you. So you got a few more hours if you haven't done so to please submit your poster presentations, as it's a really good opportunity to showcase all the hard work and the research you've done, and a potential chance of winning a prize as well. So definitely leverage that opportunity. And Deb, maybe want to share the link of the session we had last week to make sure you go back and listen if you need any last minute information before making that submission. Other than that, I want to say thank you again to everyone. Please provide feedback to Deb. I'm pretty sure she's going to put a survey out. And for our participants, if you haven't done a session with us before, you are now part of the family, and Deb will be calling you for future speaking opportunities.
I think everybody on this call already knows that.
And
thank you all.
Thank you. One thing I always like to say to a presenter is thank you all for your endurance. We don't hear that enough as professionals. Our careers aren't easy. The journey isn't easy, and the sacrifice is sometimes not understood. But as a person who has matriculated through the process, I want to step back and say thank you for your endurance. Because of that, you're able to have the story. There's no glory if you don't finish the story here. So it's I'm so thankful for you to be able to experience what y'all have experienced. And without that, we don't have the ability to teach our students. So students, just know that it's going to take some endurance. It's going to take some stand power and some willpower, but it also is going to take some strategy. And I hope that on these sessions that we have with you, that we are providing you both the strategy and the motivation, because it will require both for you to be successful in your careers. So thank you, everyone. And we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. And if we don't see you there, we look forward to joining us on some of our nightly calls. So take care and see you soon.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.